Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. We're here for Challenger Europe Group A as we get ready to go into our second match. I'm Nathanius, joined by our new face here for WCS, Cole Taryn. Kellen, would you like to introduce yourself? What do you do in StarCraft? Who are you?
Yeah, so it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. I've been casting amateur StarCraft since 2013, been running amateur team leagues, and then recently been casting a lot more of like the WCS qualifier side of things. You know, obviously the infamous match that won't be mentioned here, Villo versus He Should Not Be Mentioned. And yeah, it's been a great time, and now here. So looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great day of matches. Elazer versus uThermal, gonna be sick.
It's a good first match. You do have a Protoss tattoo on your arm.
I do.
Are you a cannon rusher? Do you cheese people?
No, I'm an honorable Protoss player if such a thing exists.
Okay, such a thing does not exist. So you can direct all of your angry tweets at Cole Taryn in his commentary to at Rotterdam08 on Twitter. But yes, I totally agree. Great match to get into the second series. Personally, I want to see uThermal go up against Raynor in this group.
Yes.
So totally not biased to want uThermal to beat Elazer here.
Right.
Kind of pulling for uThermal. Elazer's a great opponent, though, and I think this is going to be a really good series.
Yeah, this series definitely, I think stacked up to be one of the closer ones of this group. Obviously, Elazer in his most recent result got 3-0'd by Raynor, so hopefully trying to avoid him, to get that easiest path moving forward. So players are getting ready for it. It's going to be Cyber Forest. It should be a pretty fantastic match, Nate. Looking forward to it.
I don't really see Raynor losing to Elazer as I might be like totally out of my depth to say that, but I think that people like when I talk to people, and I got to talk to Roddy because as you'll learn as doing StarCraft commentary, we basically just pull everything from Rotterdam because he just has the encyclopedic knowledge, and he's telling me, he's like, well, if Raynor's not playing against a mech Terran, I don't know who is going to stop him. So I am very, very curious because this is these two guys are probably whoever's going to make it out in second place would be my guess.
Absolutely.
But we'll see. In the bottom right, our first player in red, the Dutchman. He is uThermal.
And facing off against his opponent up in the top left-hand side in the blue, it is Elazer.
Cyber Forest, interesting pick. I wonder what uThermal has in store. At least as a Terran player, I hate playing this map. The third base, it feels very awkward at times with dealing with run-bys and all that sorts of stuff, but maybe he's got something aggressive that he wants to do.
Yeah, it might be looking, definitely a lot of attack paths available, and Elazer always does such a great job of pressuring those third bases, like you said, making that uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what we have in store. It's very standard starts, nothing too crazy. If you're in the situation as uThermal, knowing you are, I think it's safe to say favored a little bit. Feeling confident going into this match. Do you open up? Do you open up just playing standard, or would you wanna try and mix it up here?
I think probably want to save anything weird he's got for Raynor. So I think it's much more realistic that he just outplays Elazer than he would outplay like a guy like Raynor. And I do really, really like this. So he's going to do a Reaper expand, and SCV goes down to build a command center, but he still sends the SCV scout out early enough just in case there were Zerglings coming across the map. He will see it in time to keep the Reaper at home. The Reaper will not have to go anywhere out on the field. So when this SCV comes up and sees the hatchery timing, he's going to know that it was a hatch first, and that's just a huge relief for a Terran. He's even going to put the SCV on patrol. He's like, I'm just going to wait for the first couple of Zerglings because I want to know exactly when they're going to be here. And this also opens up for trying to catch the drone. And I love that. Elazer sends out two drones.
So sick.
He's like, you want to block my hatch? I'll send 2 drones. Your Reaper's not here yet. Get wrecked, nerd.
Boom, and now it's down uncontested before that Reaper is able to come in and throw a wrench in the plans. Now it's just going to go down to these Lings, doing what they can here.
We just watched, I don't know if you've seen that meme where it's in the church and you've got it's like Terran players and there's a Protoss player behind him with a gun, and then behind him it's like Broodlord Infestor, and then in the back it's like the Ghost with the sniper rifle in the top deck, and I'm like, that's what it was. It's like, I'm going to send the SCV to try and block the hatch. He's like, no, I'm going to have the 2 drones. He's like, the Reaper's not doing anything, and just really, that's just a cute little 200 IQ play from Elazer at the start of this game. So he gets the fast third, which is always really nice for the Zerg player, considering that it's not one of those easily pocketable ones. But my favorite thing about Terran versus Zerg is that there's a million different builds that you can do as a Terran player early on. You can do, and with this, he's going Reactor Hellion, but this could be an armory-based Hellbat push. This could be Hellion BC, Hellion Liberator, Hellion Banshee. Could just be a Hellion drop, which we also still see a lot versus Zerg, just elevatoring into the main base, since oftentimes the Zerg won't have creep spread inside their main all that quickly. So he's got a lot of options. Elazer needs to stay on top of whatever it is that uThermal ends up deciding to do.
Yeah, scouting really going to be very important for Elazer, trying to identify what it is as that fusion core comes down on the back side of this. It's going to see some battle cruisers here very soon, as the pressure is starting here by the third, but not really too much drones to get. So Elazer going to be unscathed for now, but 12 Zerglings on the way.
Now, if I'm Raynor, I am watching this game with quite a bit of interest, because if uThermal does win, I expect this is the type of build I expect him to do versus Raynor, where it's got to be a really momentum. You know, the opening with a battle cruiser versus Zerg is a power move. You
Absolutely.
know, that is your hands on your hips power pose, like flexing on somebody, had to do it to him type thing, because there really is no hard counter to a BC rush. It can deal with pretty much anything. Even if you do something like, I'll just say, if you do something dumb like a Corruptor rush for whatever reason, there's still the ability to teleport back. You can still trade out with Yamato, and then obviously Corruptors wouldn't do anything else. But every other unit, of course, the battlecruiser is very good at bullying. So that BC is on the way, and he's got the third command center building on the ramp. And with the gas being taken, it looks like we're going to see him be playing some good old Mecarino for this first map.
Yeah, going to be a very nice style from uThermal going up again, and it's going to be matching up very nicely against the tech that Elazer has available right now. First Roaches starting to come out on the field. And, you know, will be nice to help deal with the Hellions, but not really going to have much of a use once that first battlecruiser starts making its presence felt. As the queen count is pretty decent here for Elazer. Does he even know? Does he know about the battlecruisers yet? Has he gotten any scouting information about that?
I don't think he's. I don't think he got into the main at all this game. No. So he saw the third command center with the front poke, but yeah, the fact that the lair is so late is really nice for uThermal, because if he knows this as the Terran, what you want to do is honestly, I would just. There's two queens and a spore in the main. There's a spore, so he's got most everything covered, but you could just teleport that battlecruiser in and start pushing to the front with it in the Hellions and just focus down drones, because there really shouldn't be a scenario where he can actually kill the BC. I would just walk in, target down like 7 or 8 drones. Yeah, just fly off. So he flies in, kills 5 drones, he's going to pull back. That's going to get the attention of the queens. And what's really nice is that battlecruiser saw that the lair was morphing, so he knows 100% there's no Spire on the way. The build time of the Spire is the same as the cooldown for tactical jump, so he is guaranteed to be able to jump out before air units could ever be on the field. And that also means he doesn't have to worry about Hydras or Speed Roaches. It's just slow Lings and Roaches. So he's going to build some Hellions and Cyclones back home, gets mag field, starts up Yamato. And I love this setup. Battlecruiser, Hellion, Cyclone is a really fun, extremely powerful army composition.
And it's so much fun to watch as well. And Elazer really going to be struggling for a little bit in terms of dealing with it, right? I mean, the Roaches aren't going to be great against this. You know, the Hellions will be nice to deal with that, but that Magfield Accelerator, like you were saying, going to be doing so much damage to them, as the Hellions are starting to pressure this creep, but Elazer in good position so far.
The Roaches do kind of just say, nope, to the Hellions. You're going to have a really hard time making something happen. And with this many queens, with this many Roaches, and the fact that that speed upgrade is coming in, I love this. Just focus down the drones. The really big kicker that you need to be cautious about is when you skip siege tanks doing a build like this, it's really nice because tanks are expensive. They build really slowly. But if your opponent says, screw it, I'm just going to throw 1,000 Roaches at you, they will be able to kill the Hellions. They definitely will be able to kill the Cyclones because there's not enough of them. Builds a giant creep highway with all these overlords. I feel like this, someone from Blizzard is like, this is the cinematic thing we envisioned like in 2010 when we added this in. So there's a huge attack. That means the queens with a ton of anti-air are going to push in as well. So Elazer going for a huge Roach Ravager queen. For all intents and purposes, it's an all-in. He's looking to end the game right here, right now. and uThermal just may not have enough to stop this.
Yeah, the Bile's coming in huge here. The two battlecruisers on the right-hand side doing all they can. His transfuses are so clutch on those queens on the left-hand side. Bile still trying to hunt down these slippery battlecruisers. The first SCVs start to fall here. Still no pull coming through. uThermal trying to hold on, but now that natural base completely overrun, and Elazer in great position here.
Yeah, the hard part, those Ravagers, of course, even with the Biles, they're still going to have that auto attack against the ground, so the SCVs, when they get pulled to repair, if they ever do get pulled to repair, they're still going to have a really hard time with this because those queens have the transfuses that we were talking about, the natural command center. He should be able to dunk that with Biles since uThermal's not flying it away. His third mineral line was destroyed. He does finally have some tanks on the way with another BC. And the siege tanks here are going to be really nice. Another battlecruiser finishes. I'm still sweating that one of them is pull some to repair. For God's sake, man. For God's sake, repair your damn battlecruisers.
Please, they're getting lower and lower here as the queens continue their pressure. Now it's just down to half a mining base, really still at that main. And
so weird. So he finally does start a Spire. This is the biggest weakness of BC openings with lots of Hellions is that you want to skip tanks. If you can get away with skipping tanks, this build becomes disgusting because then you're harassing with BCs, you're harassing with Cyclones, you're harassing with Hellions. He's got a creep tumor in his natural though now. And all the tanks on the low ground gonna get dunked.
Yeah, great pickups here for Elazer, and all he has to do now is just stay alive. Even putting creep tumors down on that creep highway he set up earlier. And really just has to buy time for that Spire here, right? I mean, the name of the game for uThermal is going to be trying to equalize this economy through battlecruiser harassment.
uThermal is broke. If Todd were here, he'd be talking to us about, like, you know, ramen or Campbell's or chicken noodle, all sorts of stuff.
Whoa.
He's just going to YOLO it because there's really nothing else he can do. The Spire is here. He kills the Spire, which that's an amazing play. This could be the move that buys him a new lease on life. One of the BCs does get killed. The Spore Crawler gets repositioned, but if he gets rid of all of the queens, then there is really a lot he can do. I mean, there's Overlords here that he can kill. He can cut out a lot of this. Elazer's only move is to send all of his ground units back on the attack. Can uThermal defend his main with what is at home is my only question now. And yeah, he's barely extended himself even into his natural because he's kind of expecting this to happen. Just don't lose that command center, bro. Yeah, coming in, getting on fire now. Gonna have to pull some SVs repaired at some point. Meanwhile, the battlecruisers still pressuring here and will take down that hatchery. So really starting to restrict the larva available to Elazer on the other side. $1 million question, where's the Spire? Oh, it's in that main. He's gonna be able to deny this one too. Focuses down the Spore because he's like, look, there's no queens here to transfuse, so just get rid of it. Remove that variable from the equation. Goodbye, Spire. Another one starts up by the third base, but already this has just turned devastating. Killing the lair, I mean, I think that's a fantastic play. You don't want to mule your main in this situation, or even the natural, really. So he's got scans. I'd like to see him scan the third base, just look for the Spire. Teleport onto it if you can. There's more spores being built on it, but kill the lair, teleport to the third, kill the Spire. And that actually could be game. There shouldn't be anything he can do there. Finish that lair, please, for the love of God. Okay, does finish it. Takes out that extra queen as well. They're looking for a Spire. Yeah, there's only 2 queens on the map right now in terms of anti-air, relying solely on those spores until that Spire is finished. Like you said, there it is. Yeah, so that one just finished. He teleports it in, but he sees that Spire. The only way that uThermal can win this game, he has to deny that Spire. I would just tell all the BCs to Yamato it. I would legit YOLO on it. He kills one of the spores before that. He's going for this hatch, but did he not see it? Did he not see the Spire? No. Once that finishes, he's going to build a lot of corruptors. And this game will end, so. Yeah, that is the win condition, and now it'll be done. He'll be able to get him in queue regardless if it dies or not now. Does he have the larva, though? Does he actually have larva? Yeah, he does. 15, yeah. He's building mutas? Okay. I mean, a counterattack is not the worst play, but battlecruisers are very good against mutalisks, and 4 of them, I guess because he hasn't repaired, that's probably that's the only reason I think the mutas will work. Yeah, not repairing here, make it over the, he's going to teleport. He's going to teleport home and tell every SCV to repair. This is his only chance at this. But now he sees mutas. Yeah, and even catches a few of them on the spawn there. That's very nice. That's especially as these banks start to get lower and lower with the economies getting so low right now with so many hatcheries getting killed. I mean, only 1 hatchery. In this scenario, corruptors would have done so much. Like, I get that people are like, well, corruptor can only do so much, but he could also just caustic spray back on the other side of the map too. Like, the mutas have a lot of more utility in a way, but corruptors would make the BCs not even a thing anymore. But it's like now you just repair them. Battlecruisers, he can defend the mutas with this is, I guess, more so the issue now.
Yeah. And, you know, now we have uThermal with 2 mining bases, you know, starting to get his somewhat of an economy going again. And these battlecruisers still, there's not really much of an answer, right? I mean, those mutas, like you were saying, still don't do great. And now these roaches coming in, trading out against this mech on the ground, but losing quite a few of them still. Not a ton of larvae to fall back on.
It's not fun to build corruptors, I'll say that much, but yeah, mutas were never going to be the right call there. uThermal takes it. Amazing game. What a weird game of StarCraft we just witnessed.
Absolutely, completely off the rails. I mean, sniping so many hatcheries there, restricting the larva availability for Elazer, you know, being so active on the map and being able to bring it back from such a low economy state. I mean, what a hold on the other side of the map.
Yeah, that's the magical thing about battlecruisers is they are not really bad against anything. There are certain specific timings that some players will do to try and punish a BC opening if they think it's coming, but in that game, Elazer, he didn't scout at any point until he sent one ling up the ramp and saw the 3rd command center being built. But he didn't know it was BCs. Yeah, he had Spore in each base. Yeah, he had a lot of queens. But the magic there was just the BC comes in. It does a bit of harass. That huge attack comes. And as a Terran, you're thinking to yourself, battlecruisers are very much so a momentum. Once the boulder starts rolling, it becomes very difficult to stop. And
absolutely.
Oh man,
and yeah, and
the YOLO teleport onto the Spire as well is the only he would have lost the game 1000% if he just tries to rebuild from that position.
Yeah, and just such great decision making there, able to snipe the Spire. You know, he clearly looked at the situations like, how do I lose here? You know, what's the conditions? And Elazer tried his best, but without that information, it's an uphill battle to say the least. And saw it there. And so now Elazer going to have to try and bring it back here in game number 2 to keep himself going to that the winner's match. And you know, I'm questioning whether or not uThermal will be able just to walk away with this next game just as easily as he did in that first one.
I hope it BC rushes again.
Honestly,
I think Battlecruiser Rush legit is the best opening you can do versus Zerg. It is good against everything.
Yeah,
like there are ways to squeeze out other stuff early on if you're worried about a Nidus or if you're worried about a Ling Flood or a Baneling Bust, because it comes late enough down the decision tree that if you're getting cheesed, you'll have an opportunity to scout and do something.
Absolutely.
But the potential to kill the drones, the defensive potential saves him. A build like that with Banshees against an attack like that doesn't do anything because all those queens will shut it down very easily.
Yeah, and like that build as well, just giving him so much early information, right? That Reaper being able to stay alive, being able to preserve it, and even saw him, you know, trying to use that to get more information, even well past its realm of usefulness. And yeah, it's really great. New Repugnancy going to be the next map. You think this will be give any window for Elazer here on this map? You know, any weird Zerg tricks up his sleeve?
I think New Repugnancy is a much better map for Terran. Cyber Forest has generally been a weak Terran map, and one of the things that makes, you know, a perfect example is that last game where you have that valley that comes down when you're trying to move between any of your bases. That low ground third is exposed from so many different directions. On New Repugnancy, that's not going to be the case. He's going to have the high ground there. He won't have the ramp directly into the natural, so an earlier attack with Ravagers could be better because he'll be able to siege the natural in a better way. But the rush distance is longer to compensate, and I do think that uThermal is going to be aware of that. We have the lobby set up. I'm just going to tell them that I'm ready, just in case they're waiting for us.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the second game. But
it's going to be a good time. And yeah, you know, Elazer fans, I think definitely hoping he's got something up his sleeve here, because uThermal looking very good after that first game. And like you said, this map should, you know, in theory, has him in a better position as well.
I still can't believe he built mutas.
Yeah, it's a weird choice, right? Like if it's corrupted or just that game, 15, he just wins, right?
15 mutas. I'm not gonna say that if he had gone corruptors, he would auto win, because he did start building cyclones, and he had Magfield Accelerator from early on. Cyclones are the best Terran unit at killing corruptors. Other than a Yamato, but even then, you know, like the Cyclone just has that crazy versatility with the range of it and whatnot. We'll get into that in just a second. In the bottom left, leading 1-0 on our second best of 3 here today for Group A, he is uThermal. Mark Schlappe.
What a name.
The Dutch all have great names.
And going up against his opponent, looking to bring it back here in game number 2 on New Repugnancy, it is Elazer. I'm not even going to try.
Nikolaj, which just reminds me of Nikolaj, which just, you can't say that one correctly ever.
No.
It also makes me think of Mikhail, the great guy with the pierogi shop who threw a grenade at Nemesis on a train. Just an absolute American legend. Well, Eastern European legend, but
Legend.
a legend nonetheless. As we move into this map.
Yeah, going to be a nice, once again, just very standard stuff.
Catch gas pool, nothing crazy. uThermal's not bringing out any cheese. I don't think there's any need to.
Yeah.
Some players will do the Reaper meme on this map, where they like wall off the natural and they put the one barracks in the main, and then they go like mass Reaper. But I don't think that that's what we're gonna see. Really love the SCV Scout. This has been becoming so hot right now in Pro TVZ. I personally have always been a big SCV scouter because there's nothing that sucks more on stream than to lose to cheese. And I'm like, wow, I really wish I had just known about that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, it gives you so much more, that little bit extra early information. And, there's really, it's the cost, the resources lost from not having it mining, I think are definitely worth it whenever you factor in, especially being able to potentially block the third base as Elazer once again sends the 2 drones. That's nice.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm going to be able to get my base up. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, the only thing that he could do in that situation is he'd have to, like, blindly eBay rush one of the bases and then send the SCV to the other after it starts the building. But that's, like, that's crazy. So he sends the SCV to fisticuffs a drone. It does get very low. Ooh. 2 drones are low. He's going to turn that one into a Spore. So here the Reaper is able to at least apply some pressure directly to the Zerg. But it's not like he's really gotten a whole lot for it.
Right. Yeah. Still just going to be hanging around. Mainly just wanted to keep it alive now, as that reactor and factory on the way, looking very similar to that previous opening. But like you said, so much agency for the Terran in this matchup, and a lot of variety, of course.
Look at even that first creep tumor, by the way. Like, he tucks that in so safely that while he's building that, there's no way the Reaper can try and snipe that. Whereas a different Zerg in a different situation might put that creep tumor at the front, and then the Reaper just boop snipes that off, and you're very sad. Is he gonna lose that Overlord?
Oh wow!
My God,
that's a great pickup for uThermal. That is.
I usually have to float my command center to get that one.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of cross-map information for Elazer as well, who was already struggling with information in that last game.
Yep.
Nice job by that Reaper, able to keep that tumor out.
He builds a second Marine out of the barracks, and now I'm wondering if we're not going to see a tech lab, and he's just going to... Okay, there's a fusion core. Nice.
All right. So
this is one of those maps where Liberator range is really good too, but probably... Think about battlecruisers, like I was saying in the last map. If your opponent were to open Spire or Nidus, it destroys Banshee openings, it wrecks a lot of armory openings, or worthless against fast mutas or something like that.
Right.
But the battlecruiser rush is just... It's not bad against anything other than a very specific timing that hits right before it would come out, which if you're a Zerg, you would already have to be committing and planning for it, right? You'd already have to have a lair timing out with this Roach Horn to get a huge speed, and even then the BC will still finish before that attack hits, so it comes down again to, how just the micro and the control. So that's what I like about it. There's nothing that if you build a BC and you're like, oh, mutas, like, no, you could kill 1 or 2, then teleport home. Second one comes out, all of a sudden the mutas aren't good anymore. And it's just going to give you that ability to get map visions and just be a bully. There's no easy answer for a Zerg player for BCs, which is one of the reasons why the build is so popular these days.
Yeah, and already a decent start there for uThermal, forcing some of those drones to get pulled and seeing the Roach Horn as well. With the first battlecruiser already underway, once again getting his third behind it, uThermal is looking very, very set up right now for what is going to be very hard for Elazer to deal with, right? We have more factories already underway. The battlecruiser, like you said, not really too much that's able to actually deal with it. 6 queens with 3 more on the way. I mean, it's a good count.
Yeah. The only way that the BC rush does nothing is if you blindly YOLO teleport it, and the Zerg player is like, just Doctor Strange has 13 queens underneath where you're already planning to teleport to, and then they will actually be able to kill it before it gets away. But that's a very difficult thing to do. Most of us cannot understand the mystical arts, so I do not expect him to lose the BC for nothing. as it has finished. And it's in the natural expansion. It did run the Hellions towards the third at the same time. You still have to commit to all sorts of other things. Kills a queen.
Very nice pickup.
And 6, 7, almost 7 drones.
Wow.
Beautifully done.
Yeah, fantastic start here for uThermal. That queen count so crucial for Elazer right now in the interim before this layer finishes, right? Has no access other than spore crawlers, you know, to any other form of AoE. The third base is going to be able to come down now for uThermal, and Elazer is not really going to be positioned to punish it right now.
He's going to poke in, grab another drone or two. Now, one thing uThermal doesn't have knowledge of is the layer timing. It is being built in the main, but it's in his favor. The lair is extremely late. And when you BC rush, the later the lair, the happier you are. There is nothing the Zerg can do against a BC rush until that lair is done. If they want to build a dozen spores, great. You've burned, that's the same thing as killing all of those drones, and those spores are probably not going to kill the BC anyway. They're just there as a deterrent. You're almost always going to be able to teleport out or find a way around it. So he teleports the second BC in, north of the main, and this is really nice. He's going to see that the lair is now done, but there's still no tech that has started, so he might be able to see it in the main if it gets built here, or if it ends up getting built in the natural. But as I stated, even if you were to start a Spire right now, the teleport cooldown is the same as the build time, so he will be able to get out no matter what. Oh, when you're dummy thick trying to hide behind the Zerg main. Now the real question is, will it take 71 seconds for one queen to kill a battlecruiser?
I feel like it takes longer, right? I mean, this is...
I think he's going to kill that BC.
It does. It's looking that way.
I honestly didn't know that you could do this, but now I do. And
down it goes.
That's pretty big. That's pretty big. BCs are momentum enough based strategy that really matters. Now, the follow-up, we talked about the lack of tanks in the last game. It shouldn't hurt him as much in this map because A, we don't have 30 Overlords being sent in a chain with the speed upgrade. He doesn't actually have Overlord speed. He's just getting an infestation pit. So uThermal's still able to put on a lot of pressure here. Roach speed is not done yet. If he can clear any of the creep, that's going to be fantastic for him. There's still the possibility that there's a huge Roach Ravager attack. And since he did lose one of the battlecruisers, that's really bad. I'm glad that he stopped building BCs. As soon as you lose a battlecruiser, that's it. Like, you really shouldn't commit to trying to rebuild them because it's all about the momentum and the cost effectiveness. And once you lose that part of it, you really shouldn't double down on it. So he's just going to use the one BC to harass as much as he can, picking off drones.
Yeah, 9 workers going down as Elazer does finally secure this 4th base position. Really, that battlecruiser, the only thing still being a bit of a nuisance here is, big Hellion run by here with that Infernal Pre-Igniter. Going to be doing quite a bit.
Now, with how many drones have died in this game, you'd think Elazer surely doesn't have that many, but he's left at 66, and the approach to this is very similar to a Zerg player going up against a double Stargate Phoenix, right? He's like, well, I'm just going to counter all these drone deaths by building more drones. And he's got pathogen glands, so the infestors are going to be coming out. Fungal growth is phenomenal against Hellion Cyclone, and fungal growth also prevents battlecruisers from teleporting away, so even with a large number of those, he'd be fine. And obviously, battlecruisers have a lot of armor, but the infested Terran attack is not affected by that, so they are insanely good versus BCs.
Yeah, so great at shutting through those as more factories continue to get added on here on the backside of this for uThermal, really making sure its upgrades, his production are all up to snuff as 1-1 finishes up for these mech units as that push begins near this 3rd base.
Anyone want some barbecue?
Ooh. Serving them up here at the 4th base. So the entire mineral line goes down just about. 16 lost, and uThermal just backs off on the other side. Mission accomplished. Great work so far.
That's one of those things I'm still waiting to see when they do like the themed food at events. I'm like, I want one of the BlizzCon booths or something to have like drone burger,
Seriously.
Cooked to whatever the in-lore temperature of blue flame is supposed to be. That makes it so blue.
Get some Zergling legs, be good.
Yeah. Muta Wings is one of the ones that's advertised in-game lore.
That would be great. Yeah, why haven't we gotten on that?
And Muta Wing would be really big too, wouldn't it? Like, if you think about it.
Yeah, because they're like 8 feet tall, right? Like, they're massive.
I think a Muta Wing could probably feed a whole family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but they're like, come get Muta Wings, like get a bucket. I'm like, okay, I guess maybe they're like chopped up. I'm like, what does a bucket of Muta Wings look like?
Terrifying, I would imagine. Has the battle cruiser just lurking around here. Oh,
this is great though. Burning a fungal on Hellions.
That is so good.
That's what you would love to take out the Zerg energy here. And this is the real strength of Hellion Cyclone, is it's just this constant pressure from so many spots. That one fungal hits Hellions. The Doomsday scenario is that a big fungal lands on all of your Cyclones, and then you're just dead. Now he's building tanks because he's thinking about the Roaches and the Ravagers and the Infestors, but that BC, I don't think he saw. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, so many Infestors.
Really bad. A lot of Biles are going to land on the Cyclones. I don't think he saw the Greater Spire, and that does make me nervous too.
Yeah, you can continue to produce things that aren't going to be much of a help at all against these Broodlords. We already have Corruptors out on the map. Yeah, I'm worried for uThermal. You know, if he doesn't recognize that that Broodlord potential coming out here any second now.
The BC is done, so actually doesn't really need the Corruptors at all anymore, which suddenly does matter. So he's actually, this is the best thing for uThermal that could have happened, is Elazer runs a lot of his units into these tanks. The more that these tanks can fight before Broods come out, the better. 5 are on the way right now. This is his window. This is his window to do stuff with tanks. What he needs to get next is he needs to start Liberator range, and he needs to start building Thors. Like Thor Liberators with the Hellion, with some Hellion Cyclone, maybe some tanks later support are really big. Every siege tank he builds right now, he's effectively digging his own grave. But he has a lot of money, and he's in a really good far ahead position. So I do think he has time to make the transition, and the Thors are going to start.
Yeah, going for another run by as the pressure continues up here on the top side. The farther forward he can be pressuring without losing this army is going to be the better. Keep those Broodlords at home and away from his mineral lines as more workers continue to get barbecued here. Down to 70 now. But the main force for uThermal gets forced back. Those first 4 Thors, like you said, on the way.
Yep, the Thors are amazing versus Broodlords, and one of the things that we did not get to see yet is that fungal, or excuse me, the neural parasite. He did research it, but that's going to be very crucial for dealing with the Thors too. It's a whole lot of synergy required. You want your tanks and your Hellbats to keep the Infestors off your Thors, and the Thors themselves, they dunk on Broodlords. Like it is not even a difficult fight. So really just comes down to making sure that the utility for the Zerg doesn't neutralize his tier 3.
Yeah, going to have to be very conscious with his army positioning and movement, as a bunch of Spine Crawlers going to be coming down here at this base, really tired of these run-bys. And he's not going to take it anymore, but here comes the fight a little bit too soon.
I like this though. He sieged one of those tanks they sent for this little attack. You know, you don't need the tanks, so he's like, I'm just going to use them to harass now. And he did get the Thors, so he's moving out once again with his army on the north side. Do see a Neural Parasite on some unsieged tanks. That is really not going to do a whole lot, but yeah, good fungal, good bile.
These tanks still continuing to pressure.
The Broodlord's caught out of position, by the way, because they got F2 fat fingered onto that southeast base, and
oh man,
Lords are slow, but there's a lot of them. Are there enough Thors to actually go through this is going to be a big question. You do not want the siege tanks killing your Thors.
Yeah, one of those Broodlords are already getting taken out at the start of this.
I think you could A-move through this. Those
yeah.
Infestors are going to die really fast. And it's funny, like, you should A-move, because then the tanks are just going to kill the Broodlings as they pop up. And the Thors, they have more range and move faster than Broodlords. GG, uThermal takes it 2-0. Beautifully done, beautifully executed. If this is the only way that he's playing, I get it, but he just gave 2 really, really great games to watch and study for Raynor.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that he's got to be considerate of. You know, Raynor's, if you watch those games, he did the same build basically twice.
Yeah.
And Raynor might be thinking to himself, what time did that BC come out? Do I have something that can hit that will just kill Hellions before then?
Exactly. He's
He's not building a bunker. He's not going for like a fast Banshee. He's not even building an early Viking. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of things to take away from uThermal's match.
A lot of things to take away, a lot of, you know, holes, right? A lot of things that can be abused, especially by somebody as smart as Raynor, you know, who, like you said, has been watching it. And Elazer will fall to that elimination match. But I think that definitely still has a chance, right? I mean, like, definitely not out of this group.
100%, because, I mean, the rematch here is very possible. Elazer versus Gung Fu Banda, I think, is going to be a matchup that should favor Elazer, but and that is going to be our next series. So we'll see. I'm really excited about that winners match. This group is heating up as we go. We're going to have another PVZ coming up next, ladies and gentlemen. It will be Gung Fu Banda versus Elazer. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the StarCraft 2 World Championship.